So I've been following this Diddy trial
You?
like crack.
Did you see the Day 26 interview?
Was he molesting
all
all of them?
cried on camera.
Why? But I also saw a post where they said someone had tried to convince Cassie to leave Diddy, and she said, "Yeah, but I mean Jay-Z's taken, so who else am I gonna date?"
Cassie.
Yeah,
The
what's going on?
Tory Lanez case is looking.
It's looking shaky now as well. It's like, what is going on? What is happening now?
Girl, eh?
I love men. When you are dating to get married or whatever the case is, there must be a maximum of a 5-year gap.
Yo, what it do? Fat Bean Podcast, episode number 5. Hooray, hooray, hippie. We are back, Nadia. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm back saying again that this winter is not the worst.
It's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
Terrible.
Nah,
It's
man.
terrible. I'm going through gas cylinders like a freaking joke.
No.
Like,
Yeah, because you're downstairs watching TV. So.
I am. I'm downstairs constantly. I'm never upstairs.
Yeah, I'm in the studio, so I'm good. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, what you got for us this week? What you want to talk about?
So I've been following this Diddy trial
You?
like crack.
Yeah.
Like, I'm seeing all the TikTok lawyers breaking down each trial, each testimony, each day. And I'm just like,
how cool are the drawings?
Oh, I haven't even paid attention to the
So what do you...
No, the lady's actually saying today this is what's said and the prosecution said and this is
Yeah,
the
but
jury,
don't you
how
see
they
the
responded.
drawings that they show?
No, because she'll just be talking to the camera directly.
Okay.
And say, yeah, the jury actually responded like this, and then they giggled, and then they looked weird. Like, she literally talks about all of that.
Law and crime, right?
No, it's different people.
Okay.
Like, I just look at everybody that's breaking it down.
Yeah.
Crazy business.
Yeah, same.
Crazy business. I know the girl from Danny to Kane has also testified, but for me, the Cassie one, I think, is the one that captivated me the most.
Dawn Richard.
Yes.
She changed the name to Richard now.
She changed it to Richard?
Yeah.
What was it before?
Richard.
Like, my name.
It's one of these ladies that you're talking about that was there in front of the telling the news.
Oh.
Like, oh, sorry, she changed it to Richard.
It's like a guy named Patience, and he says, my name's Patience. Your name is Patience. Patience?
I died.
Patience.
Yeah.
Patience.
Yeah, but this is like TV. This is like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, what do you think of? What are you taking?
Okay, so my hot take from this whole situation is so crazy because, everyone is talking about the crazy things that Cassie agreed to, She was young. I think she was like 19, 20, 21.
Started at 19.
Yes.
But she stayed with him for 10 years.
100%. But she started with him at 19. Remember that this is not it's a psychological thing. For me as a woman to listen to her. Don't look at me like that. I'm being for real. And that's what my thing is, that people, when they're reading or hearing what happened with Cassie, they're just like, yo, Cassie was for the streets. Cassie was this, Cassie was that.
No,
you guys don't understand the power of coercion. And it's annoying because you can't charge a person for coercion.
I'm so happy you said that.
You can't charge a person for coercion. But it doesn't take away the fact that it is something that exists. It is something that is serious. It is something that when an influential man is with a 19-year-old that is very moldable, that is very impressionable, there's a lot of things that person could do in order to make this person happy. Similarly to how a child would with a father.
And that's what I was going to...
And that's where my thing is, that people think, yes, no, she wasn't forced into it. She was sending messages saying when we're having the next freak off and which guys are coming. She was organizing it. That means she wanted to do it. You guys don't understand the level of mental anguish that was going on in her head to please this person, to do things to make her feel accepted, to do things to make her feel like that's the only time that he would give her love. Like, it's like having an abusive father, but you're constantly trying to live up to that father wants you to do in the house and whatever, just for that 1 second of them saying, well done, baby, and the next second be a slap across the face. But that you fighting for that validation from that parent when you probably don't even understand that this parent is abusing you. And that could be even physical abuse. Now imagine understanding mental abuse. How this grown man is making you feel like you have to do certain things in order to get praise or acceptance or credit from them. And I think that's what is going on with the Cassie case. It's just like, yes, she did it for 10 years, but you don't understand. I don't know if I'm going spiritual with it a little bit, but the soul ties that happen with people that are dating the same age even. To a point where you know that this person's not good for you, no. the conversations I've had with you, where I tell you I can't shake this person out of my system, even though I know everything in my being is telling me that this person's not good for me. I'm not supposed to be with this person. Our situation was very toxic, but I would constantly think about the person, and in those moments, I'd forget all the terrible things that they've done, all the terrible things that they've said, all the terrible things that they've put me through. But getting their attention was an ego thing for me to be like, yes, I'm still that girl. Yes, even though like he's terrible for me and I don't want him, it was that thing of like I got the validation of it. I got the acceptance of it because I'm still the person that's in that person's mind.
I'm glad you said that.
100% because now I'm healed. I'm in a better place. But that's
No,
what I was
I'm
dealing
glad
with.
you gave us that other side of it.
100%.
100%, because that's an honest review, and that's something that I can agree with, But I cannot just agree with the side of what about the mental? 100%. But, and I was having this conversation with my sister just yesterday. We were having this debate, and she said the same thing that you said. And I said, listen, as a woman, I understand exactly where you're coming from. I understand exactly where Cassie's coming from, and I acknowledge everything that Cassie has gone through. But unfortunately, or fortunately, we're talking about the court of law, not the court of empathy, right? So when you talk about the mental side of things, it's like, okay, then we're going to have to get very specific about the mental side of things. Like, example, at what age now do we not let that be an excuse, right? Because you spoke about a child and her father. Cool, that's a child. So now at what age now do we cap that and say, okay, you have to be responsible for your own mental...
Can I start to interrupt you?
Go ahead.
I hear you. 100%. One, with the statement that you said, I do believe that, yes, you're right. It is a court of law as opposed to empathy. But I feel like the court of law needs to be updated to include things like empathy or like...
So now this is where I'm going with it. Like, where do we cap it?
Yes, I'm
right?
answering your question. So you can actually scientifically figure out when to cap it, because they say that dealing with a person that's under 25, their frontal lobe that actually impacts decision making.
It's not fully developed.
It's not fully developed. And that's a biological thing. So I feel like you can cap it to, 25. When your frontal lobe is developed and you can make decisions that make sense.
Nadia, I thought you were a real one. No,
I swear to God,
man.
you can. Because if you're dealing with a 19-year-old that doesn't have a part of their brain that's even developed that can actually aid their decision making as an adult or grown person that's not seen as an adolescent
Okay, now
or
here's
kid.
the thing. I agree. So if I was to agree with you, like if I was to play devil's advocate and agree with you, then we'd have to look at everything that basically makes up society right now. We'd have to look at now certain movies now can't be shown to 18-year-olds anymore. This thing of alcohol being drunk by 18-year-olds can't be done. But now what I'm saying, if a frontal lobe is the question up until the age of 25, there's no way we can leave alcohol at 18.
Well, in some places it's 25.
No, now we're talking about a new society, because now you're saying the law must take into account. So
100%.
this would be having to write this thing into the bill, write this thing into the law, right?
Yeah.
And now writing this thing into the law, a lot of people are going to accept it. But now you have to look at society. We cannot talk about or send a man to jail for impacting the decisions of a 25-year-old, but we cannot shut down all these factories for selling liquor to 18-year-olds.
It's not the same thing. I can.
What I'm saying is, someone is going to. I'm not. This is me playing devil's advocate.
That can't be devil's
someone is
advocate
going
because
to.
It's not the right
because you are
comparison.
still. Because these people that you were saying cannot make decisions for themselves up until the age of 25 can definitely be. Nadia, they definitely cannot be.
Because with alcohol, you still make the decision to buy the alcohol and drink it, no matter if you're 18 or 55.
Yes, so now you make but like, are you hearing yourself? So why 100%. Can't you make? So why can't you make an
coercion is not a decision?
Okay,
you can't make a decision because you're being influenced.
Okay, what do you mean by coercion? Because if an advert comes on TV, you are now being coerced to go and drink alcohol. And if your frontal lobe is not developed, why put that advert on TV for someone who's below 25-year-old to be coerced into drinking alcohol? Do you see what I'm saying?
I understand.
Now we are there.
It's problematic, but I'm not disagreeing with you. But I don't think you can compare.
I'm not comparing.
Drinking alcohol to
not comparing.
The frontal lobe being developed in
not
certain.
Comparing.
So what I'm saying to you is that I would rather compare it with coercion and statutory rape. It's two different things. It's a thing of, okay, if you're an adult and you have a sexual relationship with a kid that's underage, when it's physical, is when it becomes a problem. But you forget the fact that you can actually statutory rape someone mentally as well, and that is coercion. That is coercion, because you're doing something to somebody by influence, by talking to them, by whatever the situation is, to make them do things that they wouldn't have done as an able human being. So when you said, what is the cap that we can say, okay, this is the age where we can say, okay, Shab, coercion can no longer apply, even though I feel like coercion can apply even with 55-year-olds, depending on what circumstances that they live in.
100%.
But I was
Yes.
saying, okay, Shab, if you want to say a biological thing that could be tried in a court case, I would say when the frontal lobe is developed, biologically, because you can actually say this is this because of that.
Okay, right?
But when you say alcohol and coercion is I feel like that's two different things. Because alcohol, yes, you're giving me an ad, and a kid will drink alcohol and they're not supposed to, and they will do stupid decisions compared to me and you when we drink alcohol because we're older and we know how to deal with our liquor. But and as a young person that's drinking alcohol, they're not going to deal with it the same. I see my cousin, how she is, how she acts. I can see that, yes, you might look like an adult, but when she opens her mouth and she acts, I can see that this girl's still a child.
So now here's the example with the alcohol. It's not about what you do when drinking the alcohol. Just like for me, it's not about what you do in Diddy's bedroom, right? It's about him having the power to get you to do something that you might not normally do. So it's not. I'm not talking about now being on the drug. I'm talking about seeing the drug enough times that you want to touch the drug, right? So that's what I'm talking about. So I'm not talking about what happens when you're on the alcohol. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about having it be there, the access to it, right? That's the coercion. That's like enough adverts, enough Diddy flashing money in your face, saying, "Yo, I'm Diddy. I can get you a #1 record. I'm Diddy. I can get you this and that.
We don't
I'm
understand
Diddy.
the type of
I'm
coercion
that
he was
you."
doing. We don't know if it was money like
I'm
consumerism.
saying, but that's what the prosecution's defense is. They're saying that Diddy had so much power and influence that it made people either scared to talk out or just think that Diddy had the power to change their lives.
Yeah.
So they would stick around waiting for this big paycheck, like Dawn Richard. Now they said like, yo, okay, you say Diddy did 1, 2, and 3 to you, and you saw him did this to Cassie. But here's a text a year after all these things happening, you asking to work. You asking him, yo, can we work on some music? So now do we send this man to jail for life?
Not for
You
Dawn
get what I'm
Richard's
saying?
testimony. Not
No,
for
I'm just
Dawn
saying
Richard's.
it's an
'Cause, I mean,
example.
that's
It's
the
an example
I
of
hear you.
Cassie's is more intense, and you're right. She
Yeah.
was younger.
Yeah.
And
she
it's
was
more
in an
sexual,
actual-
and it's more
yes, she
sexual
was- and emotional.
and emotional. Yeah,
And
more
mental.
100%,
What Dawn
right?
was doing was just omitting to knowing what was happening because she was just looking after herself and caring about herself because people are
No, but I'm
selfish
saying people are gonna
and-
put it in the same vein in terms of like when my sister argues for Dawn, she's gonna argue on the lines of, listen, she wanted better for her life.
that's
She
what I'm
wanted
saying.
you know what I mean? So it's in the same vein of, oh, but he's Diddy. You know what I mean? I couldn't help it. But what I'm saying is, damn, I can't persecute a man for being influential, right? I have to persecute him on the laws that he has broken. So this
Yes,
case
we're
now,
not prosecuting him for being influential. He's influential, but it's about how he used his influence.
yes,
In a specific case, of
100%,
Cassie. And let's
which
not
is now
forget-
breaking the law, right?
Yes, but let's also not forget that he was physical with her too. He
Yes,
wasn't just
100%.
mental.
But he's not in jail for being physical because they closed that case. That's why she got paid 20 million.
She settled, not because he wasn't wrong.
No, 100% though. But he can't go to jail for any of the things that he did.
100%, but like, we can't disregard it in the
No, we
conversation
can't.
we're having right
And the
now.
only reason why they're bringing it to court is to show us what kind of human being he is, to paint his character. But him going to jail for that is gone.
Yes.
That's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But what he is on trial for right now is the RICO, right? The racketeering, basically meaning he was doing these crimes to aid his business endeavors. He was doing these crimes to grow his business. So now I'm just thinking, okay, how is a freak off with your girlfriend and maybe abusing her in ways you shouldn't fucking be doing, aiding your business? Do you feel like he's about to get off or go to jail?
I don't know. I think it's a difficult question to answer because I feel like I don't know how to even explain it without sounding so fucked up.
Good, come on.
But
Do
like,
it.
what's going on in Diddy's trial is not similar, but like shocking as to what happened in Johnny Depp's trial, and what's happening now with Tory Lane's trial.
Oh,
What's
shit.
changing so much is that back in the days, people, and I think there's a certain level of good that comes with it, because a lot of men were prosecuted just because the woman said you did it. Oh, you raped me. No proof whatsoever, whatever the situation is, and it's either
You were guilty until
proven guilty,
innocent,
and even
yeah.
if you're guilty and then proven innocent, then there was still the courts of public opinion
Yeah.
that you can never like survive from or
never come back
replicate.
from that.
And women sometimes would say things to hurt you because you didn't call them back, you shied them, and then and they felt like this, and they said, actually, you raped me, and then it's like, okay, because before it was like, I mean, a lot of black people were getting into these situations where they were with this like little white girl, didn't know her age, they were at a party, then it's like, oh my gosh, you raped me, and then they go into jail for statutory rape. The girl lied, she had an ID. None of that came into play, especially with the black community, especially with the black men. So now when you see what's going on right now, it's like, okay, cool. So if a woman is telling her story and saying that this is it, we're not taking it as word anymore or bond. We're trying to figure out if this is the truth. And if it's not the truth, then we will not prosecute the man because...
Which you think is right.
Which
right?
I think is right.
Correct,
100% is right. Because of the Johnny Depp case, you saw he was abusive. Those
And
things
now
that were
the
going
Tory
on.
Lanez case is looking...
It's looking
a little...
shaky now as well. It's like, what is going on? What is happening
And that's
now?
your girl, eh?
I love Meg.
That's your
I ride
girl.
for Meg. That's why I'm just
And,
like, I don't know
but
what's
what
happening.
are you going to do if you find out? Okay, let me tell you how... let me ask you, how did you feel when Tory Lanez got convicted? How did you feel?
Sorry, let's just wait for the noise.
No, it's fine. The mics are not going to do... They're going to drown it out.
When I found out he was convicted, I was like, yeah, you guys said she was lying. Fuck y'all. You guys said she was lying.
So you were...
I was like, yes, what the hell? This guy shot her.
You were like, go Meg.
100%. And I watched the documentary. She had a whole documentary about it. I saw her emotional anguish that she went through and what was going on. And I really resonated with her pain and why they were like crucifying her for talking about the fact that she actually was hurt by this male. And this is what happened to her. And she's standing by it. And he got convicted. And maybe she'll find healing from this, because of the public scrutiny that she got. And I was like, this is so messed up because it's gotten to a place where a lot of, not even a place, it's been where women get raped, women get beat up, and it's always, what were you wearing? What did you say to him? Even not even society, even in family.
It's just crazy. Like,
100%.
It's so insane. Yeah.
It's so easy to point your finger to the woman and say, you're lying. What did you do? What did you wear? What's happening? And even in family dynamics.
Why? And that brings us back to this Olorato case. That lady that went on a date and
100%.
became unalived.
Yes. And it's always the case now. There's even memes of how to not be killed in South Africa. These are the tips.
Yeah, these are the tips.
Don't
go to the post office.
Don't go to the post office.
Don't
go to school.
Yeah,
don't be 3 years old.
Yeah,
Like, what is going on?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And that's why with Meg's case, I was really resonating with her because I was like, she's being crucified because she's a woman talking about what happened to her, and everybody, and even women were going into it. And that's what happens a lot also. Other women will make you feel like you're a liar. Even in the own family dynamics, you'll be married and your husband beats you up. You go to your mom and say, he beat me up, and you say, just put powder on my baby. Just keep quiet.
What did you do?
What did you do? What did you just go back home, my love? Just go back home. Don't do anything. It's such a big generational thing that's happening. So like when I'm seeing how it's happening in court cases, in the court spaces, it's interesting for me to see because a lot of the times...
Give me a second, hold on. Oh. Someone tell Storm. Shh.
So now what I'm seeing in the court cases where men are being accused for a certain thing and they're actually coming out, can't say innocent or coming, but they're being heard and things are coming out that it's just like actually they didn't do these things, is attesting to the part of where women are using the court of public opinion, not even the police, because a lot of people even go on social media and say this guy did this to me and not open a case, just because you want to get back at them for them not calling you back or something crazy, So it's interesting to see what's going to happen with the Tory Lanez case. It's interesting to see what's going to happen with the Diddy's case. I saw also the problem with social media with the whole AI thing. I see a lot of things that I don't believe are real.
Yeah, I don't either.
So I see like a post where the president says he'll pardon Diddy if he feels like he's been treated unfairly during this trial. But I don't know if he said that or people are just creating fake shit.
He didn't say those words. That's crazy.
I saw it and I just said it verbatim how I saw it on social media. You know what I'm saying? That's why I can't believe what I'm seeing.
No, he didn't say that, but he did say that. He's like, what did he say? And I like what he said. He's like, you know what? Once me and Diddy used to be friends, or we used to know each other, we used to chat, and then when you become a politician, things change. He's like, when you become a politician, things change, and it's not about what you want anymore. It's about what this country needs. And when that happens, not everyone's gonna like you anymore. And when I became a politician, Diddy had not nice things to say, and they played the clips of what Diddy used to say, like if you vote for Trump, you're gonna die or whatever, right? As a black person, blah blah blah. And I was like, oh shit, that's what Trump is talking about. And he was like, listen, but you have to look at the facts of the case. You have to look at the honest truth, and then we'll take it from there. But he didn't even sound like he was, But I liked his answer. He was just like, listen, I knew Diddy, but hey, I'm a president now.
Yeah.
Fuck that nigga.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
that's what I'm
like,
saying. So
fuck that nigga.
it becomes so tricky when I'm seeing things on social media, because like that, if I was just like very gullible, I would be like, oh, the president's gonna pardon him
Everyone's
just because,
asking for a pardon right now.
But it's a pardon for what? Is it a pardon of what you did to Cassie? Is it a pardon of what you did to your sister? Is it a pardon for attempting to kill Kid Cudi?
And don't
Is
forget,
like, what's the situation?
There's a line of cases after this case. There's so many more cases waiting for Diddy that people are doing privately. For all those abuse cases or drugging cases or whatever it is. After this RICO case, then there's the cases where everyone's gonna try and come and get their money from Diddy, and he might serve time for those.
And you know what my thing is about that money chat as well? I feel like this can of worms opened up when he settled with Cassie too quickly. I think Cassie came out with her book or her story or something, and within 24 hours he had settled with money.
Yeah,
and then everyone was like, oh, there's money there. I am
Yeah.
coming for Diddy for everything that I went through, that I whatever. I'm going to say this was this and this was this. And then it became a whirlwind of chaos for him.
But the theory with that is even that, this thing started when he went up against Ciroc. When he started shitting on Ciroc and started
Ciroc ditched him after the Cassie thing, though.
No, he started before the Cassie thing.
Oh, was this the Jewish conversation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Before the Cassie thing, he started saying, yo, where's my money? And I need more, and blah, 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 and these, blah, blah, blah. He started doing the Kanye shit. And then all of a sudden, videos started popping up that was sealed. Things that were sealed.
Yeah.
These guys had enough money to go and
Dig them out.
unseal.
Yeah.
And I think somewhere along, and this is the theory, this is just a theory, I don't know, this is what I'm seeing. Somewhere along the line, they put enough money behind Cassie and got that video from the hotel that was sealed up. Diddy gave him a lot of money for that. And Cassie got 10 million from that hotel.
Yeah.
So the theory is it's people that are much, much more powerful than Diddy that said, actually, we're gonna show you, and we know your evil little secrets. So with you actually done. You shouldn't never open your mouth.
Yeah.
Someone with that much dirt, why would you?
But that's the thing that I actually want to talk about.
Got way too comfortable there, buddy.
100%. But I feel like guys that are like this, that are like Diddy, that are very like sexualized, and especially also with Kanye, which we will break down about their childhood, but. I feel like they have a God complex in their head. They've succeeded. So I mean, he had the keys to the city. Diddy was like a god in his own right and in his own head, and he was untouchable. And he came from the time of Tupac and Biggie, so he's iconic. And he was still very much in the game, making hits. And he was Diddy, bro. That I feel like he had this God complex in his mind that he felt like no one could ever touch him. And I feel like Kanye similarly has the same thing. And Kanye also has got a very sexualized thing about him. Apparently, he has porn playing in his studio sessions. I mean, him being with Kim Kardashian. Not saying Kim is only about that, but I think it must have enticed him about the sex tape, and because and then he tweeted that his cousin molested him. So
no, he molested his cousin.
He molested his cousin.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's also a very big conversation piece that needs to happen of what happened to these kids, these men, during childhood, and then they became superstars, and then everything was just at their fingertips. I mean, also with R. Kelly, like R. Kelly was also a person that had something going on in his childhood. Not saying that it exempts them from what they did in their adulthood. It doesn't. But there's a mental thing that I think needs to happen, because there's a lot of people that have been molested as kids and grew up and never molested other people. Yeah. They've healed. They've been able to grow from it and even make books and
so what you're
whatever.
saying is there's no excuse. Yeah.
There's no excuse, but there's something that happens when it happens to people in the entertainment industry, and then they catapult to the superstardom, and they have so much power and there's so much influence. Like it becomes a chemical reaction and they end up losing it. And I don't know what it is, but I feel like it's this God complex that they have in their head that makes them feel like they can do whatever they want, and it's always expressed in a sexualized manner.
You know, you're 100% right. And I don't know about Kanye, but, now they've revealed to us about Diddy that, he was heavily on drugs. And then there was the Diddy that wasn't on drugs, who was a nice guy, very inspirational, very loving, very giving.
Yeah.
And then there was the Diddy on everything else that was the evil black eyes,
Yeah.
and doing all this freak off shit. So maybe that there's a part of when you say God complex, yes, God complex, but damn, it's probably those drugs, boy. Those drugs have a lot to do with it. And when you've got the liquor and the drugs and it's the party lifestyle, when shit can get wild, shit can get wild. Now imagine you're Diddy with all that money in a mansion with everything you could ever need,
And
as
you're
many
actually
girls,
bored.
as many as, and you lit. And now you on every drug you can take, and you just get on a drip the next morning. And and you do it all over again. Like
Yeah.
that shit would drive anyone crazy. Not saying that it's right, but I
Yeah.
also kind of see how we got there, bro. You
Yeah.
cannot live that kind of life and
just be a
and
normal
and
human
just be a
being.
normal human being and stay
Yeah.
squeaky clean
Yeah.
and be God fearing and like there's
Yeah.
no way. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Diddy was living in a movie, man.
He was living in a movie. He really was, and you're 100% right. But I also feel like, you know, there's more of an understanding of not understanding, but people are talking more about his upbringing, like what we just talked about now. He's got complex and this and this and this, but not necessarily Cassie's. To be like, no, but Cassie was sending messages and she was doing this and she was organizing and she cheated on her boyfriend with him and kept going back and was for 10 years and was what. But we don't understand the power of coercion from somebody like Diddy and understand that that's something that is a very big offense. And I think because people can't put it on pen and paper, black and white, to trial it. But I feel like people don't understand, and that's why men will never understand it, because hardly men are in situations where they're being coerced to do something they don't want to do.
I mean, the thing
It's
is,
hardly happening to
that's
them.
that's true, 100% true, and that's a societal thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it is 100% possible to put it on paper. Um, they just settled. She was going to. It was a thing. They just settled. So you can 100% try and take someone to court for their mental abuse, all of that. And I think that's kind of the Johnny Depp and thing situation. It was very wishy-washy about, all these things that happened. And was there feces involved
Yeah.
at some point?
She shot in the bed.
Like, you can take someone to jail for shitting in your bed. You can, but again, there's gonna be a lot of questions asked,
yeah,
about
like
how did we get
why?
there?
How did we get
How
there?
did it get there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can 100% take it to court. It's just gonna take a lot of money.
Yeah.
'Cause I think it's gonna go for long.
Yeah.
But I hear what you're saying in terms of it is kind of up in the air and wishy washy. But Cassie was gonna do it. She got paid.
Yeah, she got
And
paid.
everyone else coming behind Cassie
Yeah.
is doing the same thing. A lot of them are just gonna be like emotional damage. Did
Yeah.
you see the Day 26 interview?
No, I didn't. But I loved Day 26. Making the band.
My
that was
nigga, they all
shit.
cried.
Why? Was
They
he molesting
all
one of them?
cried on camera.
Why?
Dog.
He was touching them.
So this guy, they're talking
B2K.
about they're on Vlad. They're on Vlad. Day 26. They're on Vlad. They're doing like their second or third interview on Vlad.
Yeah.
And there's a guy there. I think his name is Q. He's one of the bigger, chubbier guys. Wears glasses. And he's talking there, and Vlad starts asking them questions about Diddy, and a lot of them are giggling like, "Hi, yeah, Diddy, like we never saw anything." But this guy is keeping quiet. He's like this, He
Yeah.
starts looking to the side. He starts doing all this shit, and then he speaks up, and then he's like, "You know what? Nah, like nah. I've seen a different side. There's this side of Diddy, but then I've seen this side of Diddy, and everyone is guilty. All those people that were around Diddy, all those powerful people that were around Diddy, all of them are guilty." Then he starts going into how can you hurt someone and love hurting them and love seeing them hurt? How can you physically hurt someone and then you laugh in their face? And now we can tell that he's talking about himself, this guy.
Oh. He's talking about himself.
Now you can tell he's talking about himself.
Yeah.
Now the way he's going, the aura in the room changes.
Yeah.
The aura in the room changes.
Like he was hurting people.
Diddy and the people Diddy's around.
Oh, so
because
he's
he
talking
was
about, like,
asking,
his
because Vlad was
experience.
asking,
Yeah.
have you guys ever experienced anything like Diddy crazy, like any crazy shit? They're like, nah, like, Diddy's crazy, but nah. And this guy was just like quiet for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Then he started speaking up. He was like, man, listen, I was a writer. He starts going on his own
Yeah.
story. Like, I was a writer for Diddy. Diddy handpicked me to be in Day 26. And when Day 26 fell apart, I was still around doing work, doing writing camps, doing all this shit. So I saw the good Diddy, but then I saw Diddy on drugs and, a bad guy, He started saying, like, yo, how can you? And then he goes into the fact that he went so crazy that he was walking around the streets aimlessly. He got diagnosed with some type of mental condition. He says he gets an injection every month in his arm so that he doesn't go
Lose
crazy
my
from the
mind.
shit he experienced
Oh.
with Diddy. All of a sudden, you start seeing one guy do this,
Oh no.
like through the glasses.
Yeah.
One guy do this, like another guy pass me the tissue. Another
Yeah.
guy. Now they're all
crying.
6 of them. Yo, pause the interview.
Damn.
Like, yo,
That's crazy.
They come back and they're like, yeah, this is sad for us because we know his story. We know the details. We know all the details. And it's crazy. So that guy,
Went through it.
I'm thinking it sounds like the R word, I know we
Yeah.
can't say it on YouTube, but it sounds like the R word. It
Yeah.
sounds like he's like, how can you hurt someone like that and laugh in their face?
Yeah.
And he said that shit made me go crazy. I wasn't myself. I didn't know. I was walking on the streets, just walking. I get an injection in my arm every month just so I don't go crazy. I was like,
That's
damn.
so heartbreaking.
That's heartbreaking, bro.
It's heartbreaking, but you saying that he's probably going to jail for everything else but things like that.
And he said, I'm not a snitch. He's like, I'm not a snitch. He's like, I'll never snitch. I'm a man. I'll take it.
Yeah.
But, I'm fucked up. He's like, I'm fucked up, but I'm not going to snitch. It's like a dog. I watched that interview. I was like,
that is so crazy.
What? I was like, whoa, this is crazy, dog. Then there's Kim Porter's ex-husband.
Yeah.
Who was in hospital and says it's Diddy who definitely drugged him. They poisoned him. And he's coming out with the book and he wants to take the stand, but I don't know if they're going to call him.
Yeah.
But
even Kim Porter herself, they said that she was taken out because she was going to release a book.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's so tricky. Like, Diddy is actually very scary. But I also saw a post where they said someone had tried to convince Cassie to leave Diddy, and she said, yeah, but I mean, Jay-Z's taken, so who else am I going to date?
Cassie.
Yeah.
See?
So, no, but I understand that. I'm just like...
Coercion.
There's levels of coercion in it. I'm just saying, it doesn't take away the fact that she saw the value of being with Diddy. She saw the value of being with Diddy.
And I'm glad you agree.
100%, but it doesn't mean that coercion didn't happen for her to do the things that she normally wouldn't have done with Diddy. She knew the value of being with Diddy. She knew how it was going to impact her career and how it was going to raise her bar, 100%, but it doesn't mean, because she said that means that she was accepting all the things that she was ending up doing with this man. Yeah. That's where the level of coercion comes into it,
And that's why she knew that she had a case. And that's why she attempted to sue Diddy. And that's why he settled. Yeah. Because she knew there was a case there. You know, you can't tell me, how many times, okay, listen, I got abused on this day. Here's the proof. Here's the proof. Here's the proof. That's it. And I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. But now when we look at his sentence and how long he goes to jail for, please send him to jail for the specific things and not the freak off shit that she was involved in. And you can see the text where she's like, when's the next one? Please let's not send a man to jail for that. That's all I'm saying.
I get you.
That's all I'm
saying.
saying.
The abuse, yes, though. The physical
abuse, 100%. But choking on pee, dog, that's up to you. You can't send a nigga to jail for choking on pee, but you know what I mean? Like, no, that's not gonna happen. That's what I'm saying. Like, no, you stood there and you choked on the pee. You know what
I think men should do? If you're older than 30, don't date people that are within 20.
So then what must females do? What's your responsibility?
Don't date men that are over 30 as well. It's both ways.
Okay.
I'm not saying just men. 100%. But the reason why I'm saying men is because men, it's easier for them to lure an open-eyed, bushy-tailed little girl into their world if they have all of these, things.
Yeah, but I agree. But
and they should just say,
but you know what? you need to teach, and people are always like, where do we start? Where do we start? How do we fix this? And my thing is like, let's start at home. Let's honestly raise our kids the right way. Raise your child the right way, so that you don't have to be like, why does that nigga know? You're already doing it wrong. You should be able to be like, baby girl, listen here. The world is a cold, heartless place. You should be able to do whatever you want to do in this world. But you know what? As my little girl, I need to break the truth down to you. There's wolves out here. It's evil out here. And if you walk around like this, you will be looked at like this. And these things could happen to you. I'm not saying go around being scared. I'm saying go around not being ignorant, protect yourself, and do something about it. That's all I'm saying.
When they don't have a frontal lobe to make decisions.
All I'm saying is you as a parent, do your best.
100%. But there are parents that have done their best.
Yeah, the world is going to do what the world is going to do.
There are parents that have done their best. So I get that. But I feel like there are...
Unfortunately, it is unfortunate.
Parents that have done their best.
Yes.
And their kids still have gone through that way. Because 100%. The men are the predators. You can't be an over 30-year-old trying to be with a 19-year-old. You know what you're doing.
But then also, what about the females that are predators that are 19, that know they're the shit, that know they're sexy as hell, that know that this nigga wants them, and that knows that this nigga is dumb. They're like, this nigga, I can get whatever the fuck I want from this nigga. And honestly, this nigga's dumb. And honestly, this guy is socially awkward. This guy works a 9 to 5. This guy doesn't know this life. And he's actually like, why is this girl approaching me? Like,
a lot of them will regret those decisions when they get older.
You see what I'm saying? So it goes both ways.
No, it's different.
These young females learning to be predators, because I know a lot of them.
I'm not saying that they're not predators, but I'm saying this frontal lobe thing is a real thing. There's a part of them that can't see sense. They can't see decision making. That's what I'm saying. A person that is an able man, that is the actual predator, that has the things, needs to also make the decision that they cannot be with 19-year-olds because
so if
mentally
you were the
they're
mayor,
not okay.
If you were the president, and you could make two laws regarding relationships between men and females, whether it's around age or kids, dealing with kids, whatever. What would your two laws be?
So the first law would be over 30, you can't be with under 25. That's the
under
first.
25, you can't be under 25.
Yeah, because the frontal lobe only develops at 25. Okay? So I'm saying biologically, can't be under 25.
Okay.
The other law, I would say...
My man's shaking his head there. It's like, he's thinking about his own girlfriend, like, damn. My girl is 24, what's up?
You can't. The person has to be an able being. Everything must be developed everywhere. And vice versa also. If you're over 30, a woman, you can't be with an under 25. You know what I mean? And then the other law that I would say is when you are dating to get married or whatever the case is, there must be a maximum of a 5-year gap between the two of you. Because you guys need to understand each other. It must make sense here.
Okay, when you are dating.
When you are dating, when you're in a full-fledged relationship, when you get married, there can't be a gap over than 5 years.
But what,
otherwise your marriage is illegal.
So that's even when you date, you can't.
You can't. Because also, what are you doing? What conversations are you having with a person that's 10 years older than you?
What conversations?
No, it's different generations. It's different generations.
What conversations are you
having? That would alleviate the slave queens being with our fathers. It eradicates it. The slave queens would be with our dads. It will stop. I saw a TikTok the other day. This lady was with a man that had 17 years age gap. She's not, I don't know if it's 17 years, but she was 34. He is 68 or 65. You can see he's bawling. So the intentions of this marriage is not...
I can't be hypocritical.
It's a lie.
I can't be hypocritical. You know, my girl is 9 years younger than me, you know.
And I hate it so much.
But again,
I hate it so much.
that I have with her, I can't see
But her frontal lobe has been developed. So I can't hate it that much.
100%. But imagine if it was just 1 year back.
It's over. I don't like it. I don't like it already. I don't like it. But at least the age gap. Okay, you're right. Actually, that actually just reminds me about something else. Okay, so if you're 19 or if you're 20 dating a 30-year-old, that's problematic for me. But if you're a 30-year-old dating a 40-year-old, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Because you're more mature. You've gone through life. So it is different. You're 100% right. It depends on the stage of both of your lives. My issue...
I agree
I get that. 100%. I get that.
more specific.
100%.
You know?
I get that at 30, she's an able woman. She knows what she wants. She's probably had a kid or not or whatever. Like, she gets it. My issue is with a 19-year-old or 20-year-old being with a 30-year-old. I'm sorry.
I definitely disagree with that.
It doesn't make sense. And most likely that 30-year-old that's with that 19-year-old is not because they love their mind or anything. They love that they're moldable. They love that they're controllable.
Yeah.
They love that they're actually with the child.
I don't think you can love a 20-year-old's mind when you're 30.
When you're 30.
What are you loving
There's
about
no ways.
it?
My cousin is turning 21. I couldn't imagine her being with somebody that's over 30 because it's just like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But a lot of powerful men, a lot of geniuses, a lot of people that have got complex love that level of control, especially with their women.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you know why, but you just said it now.
100%. They love that level of control, which is problematic in its own. It's 100% problematic. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of parents.
But then, Nadia, why do we have so many women doing it?
That's what I'm saying. That's why when you said the parents thing, you have so many parents that will 100% tell their kids the values. And even when that kid says, oh, mommy, I want to be with this person, and they're like, hell no. And they'll do it anyway.
They'll do it anyway.
Behind the back because whatever. Is unfortunately, one, kids love. Have you taken your child, Moon, to the store, and she wants to take all the toys?
No, 100%, yeah.
It's literally that. It's literally that because the kids are excitable by nice things. If you're a 19-year-old, you'll be excitable by a man that's getting you your phone.
But you know what I also love about my daughter?
Yeah.
That from the time she came out the womb, I started with discipline. So now when she goes around the store and she's like, and I'm like, no, baby. She's like, ah.
Yeah, but
right? So
kids do that, 100%,
right? So
of course.
Like, but she'll put it back and understand exactly why you can't have it. And we can even bargain.
Yeah.
She'll be like, okay, but next time.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, okay, what are you going to do for me, though?
Yeah.
What are you going to, and then she'll be like, okay, I will, and then, you know what I mean? And then it's
many kids are like that and still
but I don't think many
the same
parents are like that. I think many
Not
parents
many.
are just like, hey, wanna put it back. And they don't know,
Yeah.
they're not having the conversation. They're just like, no, don't
Don't
ask me questions about.
Yeah.
So you also have to have those conversations with your child about why I'm saying that.
Yeah.
Why am I telling you to stay away from that 30-year-old?
Yeah.
Why am I telling you to stay away from those drugs? Let me show you what this does. Let me show you what.
Can I tell you something about women?
Yeah.
A lot of women date their dads. So you and Moon can have that relationship now 100%. But she will listen to you because she is a child. When she's 19, she'll still be a child. But the man that's 30 that treats her like you do, she will disregard everything that you say to her not to do and still be with that man. Because that man gives her something that you do.
Yeah. But
Because she's a child.
At least she's going after what reminds her of her dad, right?
Yeah, but the age gap is the problem. The age gap is the problem.
100%. But
you know
at some level, you're not going to be able to control your kids. At some level.
That's what I'm saying. No matter
and
what
I'd rather
you do.
her be honest with me because that's my
Yeah.
parenting style. I want you to come and tell me whatever's happening.
Yeah.
At least so I can be in the know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd rather that than for you to feel like you can't come and tell me
Facts.
where you're going, who you're seeing. I'm not going to be happy about it, you know? But rather that, because that's going to avoid a lot of problems as well, you know? I don't want to be that parent where she wants to run away from and doesn't feel comfortable, you know?
No, of course. And I honestly feel like a lot of parents don't
you
want to
feel
be
like
that.
you're going to be like, hey, yeah, I feel like you're going to fuck
I
your
will.
children up.
No, but honestly, like, to a certain extent, yes, because that's how I was raised, but not as harsh as how I was raised. Like, because I see how I interact with my cousin. And I can see how my family, all of us are hotheads, even from my grandmother.
I was
it's
beat
very
the fuck up.
100%. Like, we
I
were
was
like that.
beat
We were
up.
raised like that. But I can see
That's why
how
I
I
don't do it.
am with who I love. And how I am with her. And I don't think I'll be like that with my kids because
you won't.
I purposely say I love you to her because I didn't hear I love you when I grew up. I
Yes.
purposely say it to my
Yes.
aunts because I'm teaching them to say I love
Trust
you
me,
to
you
me.
won't.
You know,
You
I
won't.
don't
Yeah,
think
you
I'll be
won't.
like that.
Because I don't hit my child because I was beat the fuck up
100%.
and I know how that made me feel.
Exactly.
And I was like, damn, that was so unnecessary.
Exactly.
Like, you
So
know?
I honestly feel like I'll be the opposite. And everyone says that to me, like, yeah, I feel like you'll be like this because I don't take gag. But I also don't, like now I have like problems with my cousin that I want to discuss with her, but I don't want to discuss her because I don't want to bring her down and make her feel sad because I know how it feels. You know what I mean? So I don't think I'll be like that at all. But I don't want to have kids, I've decided.
You're going to have kids, dog.
I'm going to have kids.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have kids. I've
crazy.
decided I'm not.
Okay, what's your reason?
I think I'm okay. I feel like that window for me is not saying biologically I can't have kids. You can have kids when you're 40, but for me, I wanted to have kids when I was younger. And I still feel like I'm young, but I don't want to have kids anything older than what I am now. So that means I'm not having kids.
Why?
I just feel like I don't want to have a very, very big gap with me and my children. I'd rather be with
Why though?
I don't know. Like I don't see it
Why is it
anymore.
about the gap? Why is it not just about your experience with these kids? And
I don't see it anymore. I used to
and
see it so much, but not anymore.
just living forever, you're immortal through your kids as far as I'm concerned. Like I
I
feel
also
like
feel like my life stops once you have kids.
no, it
I don't want my
doesn't.
life to stop.
No, it doesn't.
I
And I
think,
and
and you can say that because you're a man, because your life really doesn't stop.
no, but my baby moms can't say that either.
We don't know.
No, I know. I can tell you right
I
now.
don't know. Let's not talk for your baby moms.
No,
We don't
but I
know.
can tell you that right now.
We
Because
don't
we
know.
put certain things in place to make sure that none of our lives stopped. And it was her mom that even suggested it. She was like, guys, listen, a lot of shit changes when you have a child. You guys are in love now and you guys are, hee ha ha right now. Shit's gonna change when the child is here. So put things in place to make sure that you don't argue about who's taking care of the child now. You don't argue about who's going out and who has to stay home. You don't argue about who's coming back home at what time, So if you put those things in place, I think you would have the most beautiful time.
I think that's because of the type of man you are. Not a lot of niggas are like
No, we're talking about you now.
No, I'm saying me.
You can do that for yourself.
100%, but I'm talking about what you just said. I'm responding to what you said. I'm not saying that's the reason why I don't want to have kids. I mean, if I have kids, most likely I feel like I'd probably do it by myself. 100% because, well, anyway.
I'm gonna give you
I
2
probably
years.
would.
I'm gonna give you 2 years.
I just don't see it anyway. And I've gotten to a place where I'm comfortable with that, Like, I want to freeze my eggs. I will.
Why are we freezing our eggs if we're saying we don't?
No, because, I mean, just life,
Yeah, exactly.
But it's
2
not
years.
it's not an intentional thing. I don't. But my thing is that I don't have to freeze my eggs at this stage of my life. I don't. I'm not doing it because I'm aging. No, I'm doing it just because I've decided I do not want to have kids. But if I'm 50 years old and don't have kids, I want to be able to have the option. But right now, which if something changes, but I don't see myself with children.
I see you with kids.
I'd rather be
But
everyone
we'll see.
else's mother.
2 years.
Like everyone
from now,
else's
we'll
kids'
see. When
mother.
you're in love again and he's the most amazing man, and that thing is just gonna kick you, and you're gonna be like, you know what? I need to give you a baby. It's not even gonna be about you no more. You're just gonna be like about you, and you're gonna be like, I need to drop a baby for you. Trust me. Trust me, you don't feel it right now because those hormones are not swimming around you right now.
I
But
guess
when
so.
you
I'm not
wake
feeling
up
very maternal
and
right
yeah, when you look at
Yeah.
this guy and you're like, yo, you're such a great man. You're not even complaining about the fact that I don't want kids. I need to give you one. You'll see. 2 years. I give you 2 years.
Anyway.
That was episode 5.
Yes, episode 5 of The Fat Bean. Make sure you guys like, share, and comment and tell us what you thought about our conversation.
Yeah, I think what we need to start doing is in the comments, you guys need to start telling us what kind of questions, whether it's relationship wise or personal things that's happening at the workplace
or
pop culture or something that just happened and you need some advice. You have a question, something.
Yeah.
I think we need to start taking a couple of them and just talking
Yeah.
about them during the episodes.
Yeah.
I think that'll be really dope. So yeah, let us know what you would like us to talk about, or if you have any specific questions or crazy stories that you guys want us to, indulge on and unpack.
Yeah.
Please let us know in the comments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Peace.